Ever since I was probably 4 years old, as far as I can remember, I had two burning desires in my life. Number one, I wanted to be a school teacher. Number two, I wanted to be a big leaguer and have my own baseball card. I've lived both of my dreams. What better can I do at 64 years of age than to give back to all the kids things that I've learned from great baseball people over 40-some years career, that I can make their path a little bit easier. Because, you know, someday when the good Lord calls me up there to hit fungos, there'll be a lot of kids that say, he made a difference in my life. He taught me a lot about the game, and more importantly about life and how to deal with struggle and how to bounce back from it. They'll remember me forever.
Now batting for the Eugene Emeralds, number 2, Chris Tremblay.
I think we all come out here, you know, looking to be professional baseball players and make a career out of it, at least as long as we can. It's what we love to do, and it's what we all dream of. You know, we got great coaches out here that help us learn. You know, each one of us has different things that we need to work on. So we're trying to do that and try to play, you know, 7 days a week and just kind of get used to, you know, the travel and the road and different places that we go to. So it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that we all love to do.
The wonderful thing about what I do is I taught psychology in high school, so I have the background for that, and I've walked in their shoes, where most sports psychologists are great, but they're book-learned guys, and they don't know the sound of the bullets where we walk.
I'm going to play till someone tells me, you know, hey, you can't play anymore. So, you know, I think we're all here because we think we can make it. You know, if you're here and you don't think you can make it, you're not in the right place in professional baseball.
When I look in their eyes, I'm looking at myself 35 or 40 years ago. Imagine that. I can see the fear and I can see the anguish, and I can help them get through that because I've walked in their shoes and those other people haven't. So that's really big for the kids that I have here. And so what better need is there is to feel that I am really important in those kids' lives. It's an easy thing to do.
My dad started bringing me here in the summer of 1969. I was 10 years old at the time. And back then the Phillies were affiliated with the M's. And they were AAA, a lot of great players, Larry Boa, Denny Doyle. And this place was just packed. Every time I come here, this place is packed. So the groundskeeper would let me into the dugouts, and I'd always take sandwiches to Larry Boa and Denny Doyle and those folks. And I just had a great time.
This is probably the last and one of the oldest remaining structures in Eugene that is on the National Historical Register. One of the reasons to save it is that it's more than just a building. It's a place where people have so many memories. You have going back to football from South Eugene in 1938 till 1969.
Eugene in those days only had 2 high schools, and they didn't have an individual football field at the school, so we played our high school football games here on a rotating basis. South Eugene one week, North Eugene the next week. So I think they did that up until they started using Autzen, which must have been in the late 60s or early 70s. So I believe the M's started here in 69, if I'm not mistaken.
That's 40 years solid. People coming here, you got grandfathers taking grandkids, now the grandkids are bringing their grandkids here. There's so much feeling for this place, there's so much memories that are a collective memory.
Well, I'd like to relate a little story. A few years ago, my uncle, who's since passed away, he lived in Seattle and was a big Seattle Mariners fan, and he came down and I was able to get him a front row seat, and he said, you know, this is the best time I've had at a baseball game in years, just because the action is so close. Couldn't ask for a better place to watch a baseball game.
The season so far has been pretty good. You know, the team's playing relatively well. Crowds have been really well. We're averaging about 3,500. But we had some problems with the field. We've had some sprinkler issues, stuff going on with the outfield fence, various stuff that happens every year. You know, the locker rooms continues to be inadequate.
Now, if you walk in our clubhouse, then it's very archaic, outdated. We have one toilet for 40 people, no privacy. The showers work sometimes, and this old girl, she's spitting her up now. The circuit breakers are breaking every day. We've got water shut up all over our field now because there's broken pipes under the ground that can't be fixed during the season, and she's just saying uncle. But you know, the fans don't know those kinds of problems because they remember only sitting in that seat and the lady baking cookies right here for our players and bringing their grandkids to a ball game that has great food and a great ambiance. That's all they can remember, and they want the same thing for their children. I can't argue that at all.
We've had people make special trips here from all over the United States just to watch a game here just because of the history and the type of facility that it is. So I think that says a lot for Civic Stadium.
The nostalgia between this old lady that's 72 years old, that grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles brought their children here, and they want to sit in that wood bleacher and they want to cheer for their M's, and they want to eat the great food they have cooked over open grills out there, and they want to share that with their children and grandchildren because they were given that by their grandpa and grandma and so forth. And so it's real hard for them to want to go sit in a beautiful new stadium when all of their memories and the culture from their family sat right here in Civic Stadium. That's why it's hard for them to accept that. I mean, the hard thing for us is we love it here too. Our fans are great. They're the only fans in Northwest League that when the other team makes a great play, they stand up and applaud. We make a great play on the road, they call us names. These are true fans in Eugene.
I think people are really in love with Civic Stadium. I think the history, the traditional type of ballpark that they have here with the old wooden grandstands. It was built during the last Depression in 1938. It is truly a gem that a lot of cities don't have, and Eugene is lucky to have it, and I think it'll be very sad if they do lose it. So.